Welcome back, everyone. So today I'm going to do a video on how to grow cilantro. I had a lot of feedback on people who are interested in growing cilantro and maybe having a bit of an issue with it. It is kind of a tricky herb to grow every once in a while just because it's very picky. It loves sunlight and to be warm, and right now that might be a little bit of a challenge for those of you that are growing. So I have some tips that should help. So today we're going to start just talking about what to do with your cilantro. Make sure you take a peek at the back of your cilantro packet. You're going to want to follow the directions for your specific cilantro because there are different varieties of cilantro. And it also can be called coriander. So coriander seed is from cilantro. They're two in the same. So first thing you're going to want to do when you have your little tray starters, I'm using these little plastic guys. I reuse these after I go to the store if I buy starter plants or if I just have these around. I use them every year, maybe wash them out and sanitize them. That way in case there's any germs or pests from previous plants. And then I just filled it up with soil. I'm going to take my spray bottle. Cilantro really likes to be moist, but not terribly wet. So it likes to be wet, but not too wet. So I just moisten the soil. You can feel it to the touch, nice and damp. And because I don't mind when my cilantro is bunched, I'm not going to worry so much about putting one seed, only one in each tray. I'm probably going to put a few in there because I'd like it to be thicker. So we want our soil nice and moist, but not too wet. And I'm going to go into my seed packet. So this one says it likes to be about 1/4 of an inch down there. So just into the soil, just a small little divot in there, nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. And I'm going to get my seed packet out. I want to be careful because my hands are really damp right now. I don't want to get my seed packet too wet because then it will ruin the other seeds for later if they get damp, but they don't actually not allowed to germinate. So I'm going to pour a whole bunch in here. This seed packet, again, is an easy sow, like some of my other packets that I've used. That just means it has a little special coating. These seeds are kind of cool. They're a turquoise color, so they're just painted with some extra nutrients to assist for the seeds to grow. So I'm going to take my seed starter tray. I'm going to take 1 or 2 and put it in each hole. That one's lucky it gets 3. I'm going to do that across the whole board. Okay. So now that I have my seeds in there, I'm going to pinch these closed. So simply just closing the soil out from outside of it onto it over the seeds. Press those in, cover it up. So I don't want to see my seeds anymore. And if you guys notice, my chickens in the background, we got some hens, which is very exciting. I'll be doing a video on my chickens later, introducing you to my ladies. So now that we've covered it up, it's pretty easy like other seeds. So you just want to follow the directions on how deep to put them, moisten it, not too wet. But the trick is the temperature. So cilantro is a very warm loving plant, similar to other herbs like basil, which if you're interested in, I'll also do a seeding video on basil and we can watch them grow. Some cilantro, the seeds, they're actually coriander. People suggest soaking them overnight. So you put them in a bowl of water overnight, and the next day you simply put them on a wet paper towel that you keep wet every day and put it in straight sunlight and spray it to keep it moist every day until it sprouts. And then once you start to see the roots coming out, you can put it into a little starter tray if you like. I don't usually do that. I prefer to have them in here. I think especially coriander and cilantro, they're a bit particular about their root systems being touched and moved around. So I really like to seed in a tray already, and it keeps it easier to keep it moist. So what I'll do, I'll just take my spray bottle and spray it lightly twice a day. You can let it dry out ever so slightly so the color of your soil might change, or it just feels a little bit dry to the touch. Sorry about my chickens, they're quite vocal right now. But you don't want your soil to be very, very wet. And you're going to just keep it moist all day, spray it once, let it dry out. and then spray it again in the afternoon. But something you want to do, like I said, you want to make sure the temperature is correct. So they really do not like being cold. It's actually 70 degrees Fahrenheit is the most ideal temperature for these little guys to grow. If you have it or the ability to get a heating mat for plants, that's what I'm going to use for these so I have the best germination. So I actually lay it on a source of heat, and it keeps the soil nice and warm around 70 degrees. I'm going to water it every once in a while to make sure it's nice and damp. And then when it starts sprouting, I don't have to keep it on the heat mat if I don't have space, because I'll probably be growing other seeds, and they'll kind of fight for space. So I'll move this to the window. So cilantro really likes to have sunlight all day, 8 to 10 hours. However, not direct sunlight. So this is great for your window. They're very vocal, these chickens. You're going to want to move these guys outside or transplant them into a bigger container when they're a few inches tall. 5 inches is probably the maximum height that you want to keep them in these. They might start getting root bound. And cilantro is a little bit picky about its roots. It's got more of a taproot, like a singular root, rather than something that spreads out. So you don't really want to disturb that. You want to transplant them, especially if you start seeing roots coming out the bottom. That's a really good sign that they're ready to go, and you don't want to play around with their root system too much. But once they are that big, you can transplant them outside as long as you know the temperature is not going to get below 45 degrees. That's really important because, again, cilantro loves heat and loves sunlight. If you do transplant them outside because you don't have a larger container to put them in, that's okay, but try to cover them at night if you know it's going to get cold. Simple tarping or a small hoop house, those all work. So those are some tricks of the trade. Make sure you follow the directions for your seed packet and keep them warm, again, above 40 degrees while they're germinating, preferably 70 degrees. That is the ideal temperature for maximum germination rate. And to keep them moist, but not too wet. You want to make sure you spray them often, but not so much that it gets soggy, because the seeds will not germinate if they're too wet. So let me know how this video is, post pictures of it, and if you soak it overnight in a bowl and leave it in a window, show me how it goes, and maybe I'll give it a try if you guys have really good luck with it and it's better than mine. And again, you can put it on a heating mat. That really helps the germination rate if you don't know if it's going to be a consistent temperature. So good luck with seeding your cilantro or your coriander, whichever you prefer calling it, and let me know how it goes. I'll see you in my next video. And if there's a certain herb you would like to learn how to seed and grow, if it's extra tricky and you're having not the best of luck with it, let me know. Post pictures and comments below. Thank you guys and have a great day.